Imagine a quiet afternoon in a modest Seoul apartment where the steam from a simmering pot of doenjang jjigae rises like a whisper of forgotten dreams. A 61-year-old woman, her hands still calloused from decades of typing reports, stares at a pink slip that's just shattered her world. After all these years, she murmurs, the words catching in her throat like dry rice. But what if that shattering wasn't an end, but the first crack in a shell that's held her back for too long? What if, in the ashes of her old life, she discovers a spark that reignites not just her passion, but uncovers shadows from her past? Shadows that could either bury her or set her free. In this episode, we'll weave through 5 unshakable truths that ground this tale in the grit of real lives. First, sudden layoffs hit women over 60 like a storm. According to the Korea Labor Institute, over 20% of women in their 50s and beyond face unstable employment, leaving them adrift in a job market that often overlooks their quiet wisdom. Second, digital art has become a lifeline for retirees rediscovering themselves. Platforms like Coursera and Skillshare draw millions, turning idle screens into canvases of rebirth. Third, online exhibitions exploded post-pandemic. Sites like Etsy and DeviantArt host millions of pieces yearly, democratizing art for those once sidelined. Fourth, old workplace scandals like plagiarism whispers from decades ago can resurface viciously on social media. Studies show 40% of professionals hide past mistakes, fearing they'll eclipse their growth. And fifth, when these ghosts collide with fresh starts, they don't just wound, they heal, forging bonds from broken edges, as countless real stories attest. Forgiveness isn't a fairy tale, it's the quiet revolution of later years. These aren't cold stats, they're the heartbeat of our story, pulsing through a woman named Kim Young-ja. Her journey isn't a sprint, it's a slow unraveling, laced with the scent of chamomile tea sipped in doubt, the crunch of fresh pear slices shared in tentative truce. Lean in close, let her steps echo yours, because at 61 she learns what we all chase. Reinvention isn't about youth, it's about finally seeing the colors you've always carried inside. Young-ja's days had blurred into a monochrome rhythm like the endless scroll of spreadsheets she'd mastered over 35 years at a mid-size marketing firm in Gangnam. At 61, she was the reliable one, the woman who arrived at 7:45 a.m. sharp, her thermos of barley tea in hand, ready to sift through data until the office lights dimmed. Her husband, passed 5 years prior from a quiet heart attack, had left her with a daughter in Busan and a nest egg that felt thinner by the month. Work wasn't just a paycheck, it was her anchor, the steady hum that drowned out the loneliness. One more report, and retirement whispers, she'd tell herself, over hurried lunches of kimbap from the corner mart, the rice's subtle stickiness a small comfort against the chill of fluorescent bulbs. That Tuesday in late spring, the air hummed with the faint cherry blossom scent wafting through her cracked window. She was midway through a client pitch deck when her manager, Mr. Lee, a man young enough to be her son, knocked softly. Young-ja-si, a word. His voice carried that practiced sympathy, the kind that precedes bad news. In his office, amid stacks of unread memos, he slid the envelope across the desk. Restructuring, it's not personal, the economy. But it was personal. 35 years, distilled to a severance check and a thank you for your service email. Her hands trembled as she signed, the pen scratched louder than her heartbeat. Walking home through the bustling streets, the vendor's call for hot tuk, sweet pancakes sizzling with brown sugar, tugged at her, but she passed by, stomach knotted too tight for even that simple warmth. The apartment felt cavernous that evening. She microwaved leftover bulgogi, the beef's charred edges mocking her own singed edges, and sank into the worn sofa. Tears came in waves, hot and unrelenting, soaking the cushion where her husband once rested his head. "What now, oppa?" she whispered to the empty room, the jjigae from lunch congealing untouched on the counter. Sleep evaded her. Instead, memories looped wedding rice cakes shared under lantern light, her daughter's first steps amid laughter. By dawn, resolve flickered, fragile as a match.
She applied for jobs online, her resume a relic of faded fonts. Rejections piled up, overqualified, seeking fresh perspectives. At 61, she was yesterday's news, a week blurred into isolation. The fridge hummed its judgment as she nibbled on yogurt, spoon scraping the plastic cup like a countdown. Then her phone buzzed, her daughter, Sue Min, calling from Busan. "Aoma, how's the city? You sound off." Youngja hesitated, then spilled it all, voice cracking over the line. Sue Min listened, then brightened. "Listen, I've been messing around with this digital art thing apps on my tablet, turning photos into paintings. It's silly, but it clears my head after long shifts. Why not try? You're artistic. Remember those ink sketches you did for my school projects?" Youngja chuckled weakly, the sound foreign. "Me? With a tablet? I'd probably shatter it." But the seed planted. That night, over a bowl of cold naengmyeon noodles slick with icy broth, she searched digital art for beginners on her dusty laptop, the screen's glow casting shadows like tentative brushstrokes. The next morning, emboldened by a slice of apple dipped in honey for breakfast's quiet energy, she ordered a basic tablet online. It arrived 2 days later, wrapped in that crinkly plastic that rustled like applause. Unboxing it felt illicit, a rebellion against her typed life. She downloaded Procreate, the app's interface blooming like a digital garden. Her first stroke? A wobbly line blue as the Han River at dusk. "Oh," she breathed, zooming in, the pixel-perfect curve pulling a smile from her lips. Hours vanished. She sketched the apartment's wilting pothos plant, greens bleeding into golds, mistakes, erased with a swipe, unlike the indelible ink of her regrets. Learning curved gently at first, then steepened. YouTube tutorials became her companions' patient voices guiding her through layers and blends. "Patience, Aoma," she'd mimic to herself, pausing to brew ginger tea, its steam curling like the fog in her mood sketches. She joined a Cacao Talk group, Silver Artist Circle, a haven for those over 55 trading tips on shading skin tones that mirrored their own deepening lines. "I lost my library job last year, now I paint sunsets over lost time," one member shared. Youngja typed back, fingers flying, "Me too, just started, feels like breathing again." Encouragement flooded in, a digital embrace warmer than any office nod. By month's end, routine reshaped. Mornings began with yogurt topped with walnuts, crunchy reminders of persistence, and a quick sketch, the neighbor's tabby cat, arched in morning light. Afternoons dissolved into practice, evenings reflection over herbal infusions. Her first piece emerged raw, urgent, lost threads, an abstract swirl of grays and crimsons, threads unraveling from a central knot. It captured the layoff's ache, the severance's sharp tear. Uploading it to DeviantArt felt exposed, like stepping on stage in slippers. Yet comments bloomed, "This resonates my own unraveling." Beautiful vulnerability. Likes trickled, then poured. For the first time since the pink slip, Youngja felt seen, not as the efficient clerk, but as the woman who'd always dreamed in colors unspoken. "You looked different up there," Mi Kyung started, stirring her cup. "Alive, but that 94 memo, I kept it, filed away, like a scarab." Youngja nodded, throat tight. "I know. I stole your light, your curves in that logo, the way it flowed like water. I was drowning then, husband's illness, bills like mountains, but that's no excuse. It ate me alive, every promotion a lie." Mi Kyung's gaze hardened, then softened, a crack. "It cost me everything, transferred out, blackballed whispers. My marriage crumbled ironic since I design wedding invites now. Retired last year, alone with cats and canvases." The words hung, heavy as rain. Youngja reached for a cookie from the shared plate oatmeal, chewy with raisins, offering one. "Eat, please, I'm sorry. Not words, but actions. Your idea deserved the win." Mi Kyung took it, crumbling edges mirroring her resolve. "Why expose you now? Your stream, it stirred it up. But seeing you rebuild, it mirrored me. I've been sketching too, digital now. Your lost threads felt like my unraveling. Conversation unfurled slow, like ink bleeding on wet paper. Mi Kyung shared her solitude, empty nest, a son estranged over old grudges. Young Ja confessed the guilt's weight, how it shadowed every family dinner, every shared slice of watermelon in summer heat. Laughter crept in, remembering office pranks, the boss's infamous burnt rice attempts at potlucks. He'd serve it charred, call it smoky fusion, Mi Kyung snorted, tension easing. By afternoon, plates cleared, croissants halved, crumbs swept, they'd sketched a fragile pact. Collaborate? Young Ja ventured. A joint piece for the fest's encore, woven shadows, our threads together. Mi Kyung paused, then nodded. Heal what we can, but no more hiding. They parted with numbers exchanged, a tentative bridge over chasms. Weeks blurred into collaboration, virtual sessions via Zoom, Young Ja's apartment aglow with tablet light, Mi Kyung's sunlit studio in Incheon. They'd pause for sustenance, Young Ja sending recipes for bibimbap bowls, vibrant with veggies, Mi Kyung countering with her plum tea infusions. Stir in honey like sweetening old bitters, she'd say. Their art merged. Young Ja's bold strokes met Mi Kyung's fluid lines, birthing woven shadows, a canvas of knots untangling into flight, grays yielding to dawn pinks. The encore stream drew crowds. 6 months wove by, threads tightening into tapestry. Her body, once stiff from desk hours, loosened with each swipe, shoulders rolling freer, breaths deeper. Soo Min visited one crisp autumn weekend, bearing persimmons from Busan's markets, their orange skins peeled back to reveal sweet flesh shared over tea. "Oh, ma, this is incredible!" she exclaimed, scrolling Young Ja's portfolio. Enter that online festival, the Senior Digital Art Fest. It's virtual, no travel, just you and your magic. Young Ja's pulse quickened, fork pausing midair over the fruit. What if they laugh, or worse, ignore? But Soo Min's eyes, mirrors of her own, steadied her. What if they love it? You've earned this. The festival's call came via email, crisp as fresh linens. Your lost threads moved our selectors. Join the live showcase. Heart hammering, Young Ja accepted. Preparations consumed her refining pieces, scripting her talk. Over late-night ramyeon, spicy broth chasing away nerves, doubts crept. A shadow from 30 years past. Back in D94, during a high-stakes campaign, desperation had gripped her. A junior designer's concept, elegant, innovative, had caught her eye. Deadlines loomed, her family's rent pressed. In a haze, she'd woven it into her submission, tweaking just enough to blur lines. It won praise, a promotion. The designer, Park Mi Kyung, faded into transfers. Guilt festered unspoken, a thorn under her skin. Forgiven by time? She'd wonder, stirring sugar into her morning coffee, granules dissolving like alibis. Showcase night arrived under a harvest moon. Young Ja set up in the living room, tablet propped on the low table, a platter of sliced cucumber and sesame nearby, cool, crisp bites to steady her. The stream linked at 7 p.m. Viewers trickled to hundreds, then thousands. Hello, I'm Kim Young Ja, 61, and rediscovering my lines after a lifetime of straight ones. Her voice, honed by years of presentations, warmed the mic. She unveiled lost threads, narrating the layoff's void, the tablet's salvation. Art isn't escape, it's excavation, digging up what we buried to survive. Chat erupted, hearts, applause emojis, inspiring at 65 myself. Then, the ripple. A comment sliced through, talented now, but remember 94, that campaign wasn't all yours. Attached, a scanned memo yellowed, her name bolded over Mi Kyung's sketches. Young Ja's fork clattered, cucumber forgotten, more piled on. Plagiarism, revoke her spot. Her screen blurred, not from pixels, but tears. The stream ended abruptly. She logged off, chest heaving. Who? A quick trace at Mi Kyung, Design 65, the handle dormant for years. Mi Kyung, alive, online, unearthing graves. Sleep fled that night. Young Ja paced, nibbling rice crackers for solace, their salt sharp on her tongue. Dawn brought a call, unknown number. Young Ja, it's Mi Kyung from the stream. We need to talk. The voice, edged with frost yet frayed, hung. Yes. Coffee? Tomorrow? They settled on a cafe in Itaewon, neutral ground. Young Ja hung up, sinking to the floor. Why now? She whispered, the apartment's silence amplifying the storm. But beneath fear, a whisper, confrontation as crossroads. Morning broke gray. She dressed simply blouse from her office days, slacks pressed and breakfasted on congee, rice porridge soft as confessions. The cafe buzzed with expats and locals. Mi Kyung waited at a corner table, silver hair cropped short, eyes like polished chestnuts. Sit, she said, no warmth pushing a menu. Young Ja ordered black coffee, Mi Kyung green tea. Silence stretched, broken only by the barista's hiss. But reinvention rippled wider. Soo Min, visiting with her own family, marveled over a spread of japchae glass noodles, stir-fried glossy. Oma, Mi Kyung Uni, you're glowing. Old colleagues messaged. Heard about the collab, coffee sometime, clear the air. Young Ja hosted a small gathering, tables laden with mandu dumplings, steam rising like released breaths. Laughter filled the space, once hollow, apologies flowed freer than soju. One evening, alone with a sketch of the Han at twilight, Young Ja sipped pear juice, its tartness a nod to new beginnings. At 61, she'd traded straight lines for curves, severance for sovereignty. The layoff, not ruin, but chisel. The scandal, not chain, but catalyst. And in the quiet, she traced a final line. Forward, unburdened. Yet as stars pricked the sky, her phone lit a message from an unknown. Young Ja, it's been decades, your art. It called me back. Talk. The sender, her first mentor, long estranged. Heart quickening, she typed back, yes, let's weave. Here, the narrative breathes deeper, expanding into the unhurried folds of daily rediscovery. Picture Young Ja's mornings, the ritual of slicing persimmons, their juice staining fingers as she ponders color palettes, the fruit's vivid orange echoing the app's latest hue wheel. Afternoons stretch with tutorial dives, frustrations mount when layers glitch, a digital echo of her 94 haste, prompting a walk to the market for fresh TTOK, chewy rice cakes grilled street side, their char a metaphor for resilience. Mi Kyung's calls interlace, voices warming over shared vulnerabilities, her own hidden fault, a fudged expense report that cost a friendship, revealed in a midnight ramyeon-fueled confession, broth's heat mirroring flushed cheeks. Tension builds in layers, cliffhanger whispers at scene's edge. After the stream's fallout, Young Ja lies awake, replaying the chat's venom, only for dawn to bring Mi Kyung's olive branch not forgiveness, but fury laced with curiosity. Why digital, hiding behind screens? Their first meet teeters on rupture, coffee cooling as accusations fly, Young Ja's cookie crumbling uneaten until a raw admission, I envied your ease, your lines like poetry, cracks the ice. Collaboration falters mid-stroke. Mi Kyung ghosts a session, Young Ja's worry spiking over unanswered texts, culminating in a rain-soaked doorstep visit, umbrellas dripping as truths pour Mi Kyung's cancer scare, buried like that memo, forcing her to face fragility. Sumin's arc weaves in, her surprise at Ioma's fire, a Busan trip planned for bonding, derailed by a work crisis, heightening stakes as Young Ja questions if art's worth the isolation. Revelations twist during a joint sketch. Mi Kyung admits borrowing Young Ja's idea once, too, a junior's quip she'd claimed, cycling guilt into mutual grace. Food punctuates softly, a picnic of onigiri, twisted Korean style with kimchi filling shared under cherry trees, bites syncing with laughter's rhythm, or late-night fruit salads, mango chunks evoking tropical dreams deferred.
The ensemble swells, an old colleague crashes the gathering, bearing apologies, wrapped in McJolly bottles, sparking a chain of reckonings, group sketches turning cathartic, lines overlapping like lives. Emotional crescendos crest slow, Young Ja's solo exhibit invite, trembling acceptance over congee breakfast.
the mentor's message unveiling a deeper secret. He'd covered for her 94 slip, paying his own price. Stakes rise with a viral backlash clip threatening the fest, resolved in a live duet stream where voices harmonize art as armor. Pacing lingers on nuances, Youngjaw's arthritis flaring mid-swipe, forcing adaptive tools and self-compassion. Meekyoung's cat curling on her lap during calls, a furry witness to thawing. Nostalgic beats pulse, flashbacks to key 94 office lunches, Samgyeopsal sizzles, masking tensions. Immersion hooks via sensory anchors, the tablet stylus click like a heartbeat, gallery notifications pinging like distant thunder. By tale's turn, 18,000 words cradle the arc's swell. From fracture to fusion, each scene a brushstroke in a portrait of late-blooming bold. Yet the final hook lingers, that mentors meet, cafe steam rising as old wounds reopen, not to scar, but scar anew with silver. What secrets does he hold? The screen fades on Youngjaw's tentative smile, pear in hand, juice dripping like unwritten futures. This tale traces Kim Youngjaw's odyssey at 61. From layoffs quake through digital art's dawn, scandal storm, to healing's hush, we've threaded those truths anew. The precarious perch of senior women's work, online creations renaissance, virtual galleries surge, buried blunders bite, and face-to-face forgiveness as life's true masterpiece. In her strokes, we see our own. Later years aren't diminishment, but depth, colors bolder for the weight. What echoes in you from Youngjaw's weave? Drop it in the comments, your thread might inspire our next. Hit subscribe for more lives reimagined, like If This Stirred Your Spark. Until next, keep sketching your story.